really what happens here is the more people you tell that you sell cars, the more cars you're going to sell. If you tell 10 people one way or another, with a Wouldjatake, a phone call, a letter, or personally meeting them, going into businesses, handing your cards to people sitting there, and then what you always do then, if they say, I got such and such a car, you highball them there. That's called a highball. You give them more than the car is worth just verbally. So then when they come in, somebody comes up as they're after the while in the dealership, and then he lowballs them. He'll say it's worth maybe 1/3 of what they say. So then there's a confusion going on, but you take them up and show them a car that they like, and they look at that old car they got sitting there, and you try to park their old car by the new one that they're interested in, and that kind of spoils them. But that is known as high ball outside, low ball inside. And you say you can't buy them on the street, they got to get in the dealership. So as people would come in, and then a lot of the salesmen were crooks. They didn't care as long as they delivered the car, so the customer would think they're getting $500 for their car, and they were actually getting $100, let's say. But remember this, it goes back to a salesman knows more in 90 days of how to sell a car than a customer does in 90 years of buying. Because a salesman is trained, it's like a boxer training for so many days. Before he can do a fight, this is a fight. You're trying to beat this guy and he's trying to beat you. So who knows where the words come from. So actually, as they come in the dealership, they're coming in with one of your handbills or a business card, and you've given them a number on it. If it was just a business card, you might have put $500 on it. You'd allow them, and the car's got holes in it. So just an absolute piece of junk, and we call them dollar cars. Well, the people know that, but they come in, so then you start working the customer. And so the high ball is when you give them the high price outside. Then when they come in, they said to get somebody to say it's only worth $100. What do you mean 500? So that's the low ball. So the customer's confused. He doesn't know what to think. Some of the salesmen that didn't want to be honest, they would have the people sign blank contracts, and the customer thinks he's got payments of $40 a month, and they're $80 a month back when a guy was making $50 a week. And so it made a lot of difference there, but then that would be to them, that was honest, that was doing business. And they were really the heroes. The dealer didn't care as long as he got that car, that volume out that his area was set up for. In ours, it was about $300 a month, and we had 25 salesmen. But then some of that was fleet business, and then we didn't always hit, but they really felt good when they had their 300 quota in that the factory gave them, because the factory's pushing for all this. But the blank contract, a customer would sign all the papers. Every paper would be blank, but the retail buyer's order, and then on that order, he would say the right payment. But maybe he thinks he's trading for so and so different. But let's say that the payments was too high to the customer. He'd say well, we're allowing you $500 for the car, and maybe the payment would be double what. Now that was a bad one, because then the customer might not be able to pay it. But he didn't know what he got. So what they called that was selling them after the sale. So somebody had to get in there and tell them, well, that's ridiculous, and the customer already knew that was a ridiculous offer. That's why he took it. So that was you lowballed him when he come back in, and then you kind of break down his sales resistance till finally he realizes he can't do nothing. If he goes to Better Business Bureau, they didn't care, and he couldn't afford to get an attorney to handle it because he had nothing there. Because if he was buying it again on payments, they didn't care. But he's talking difference. But if he's talking allowance, and then the payments would be off. So see, that was some of the tricks handled in it, and some of the things they do, they'd come on the lot, so we detain the customer when we're selling used cars, And even one case, a guy threw his keys up on top of the little porch as they come into the closing offices. And so the guy, then he's ready, oh, I'm not going to take that job, and he's looking for his keys. He can't find his keys to leave. So all the kinds of tricks were used to, all counted as that you had. But because I put out so many handbills, I didn't have time to be playing with customers. I'd hit them what was right, and then as they start chiseling, I'd say, that's what my price is, because I had maybe 8 or 10 people waiting for them to talk to me, and I didn't need a chiseler sitting there that wanted it for about half of what it cost the dealer. So I'd get people that were buyers and the ones that I felt that was trying to steal a car or hoping to, they couldn't afford it, and they were dreamers. So I'd let them walk, and then they'd go other places and find that my price was maybe as good as that one, but they seen the car that they liked with me, and they didn't like this dirty rat anyway because wanted that price, so he'd come back to me. So I didn't have the time to cheat the people and blank them at a price that they thought they paid. So when they left with me, they knew the trading difference and the payments. And but then any of the crooked part would be on the customer's part. He'd say the car is good, but the rear axle would be out, or the transmission would be bad, or the block would be cracked. But that was honest to them, so they got you. So it was a kind of a two-way street.